Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 341D-US32D. I have one removed from the packaging here. So the 341D is a very common latch guard. Hager also has their 340D, same model, just does not have the cutout here for the rosette that you're going to have for a grade 1 lever is really where that's going to apply. Or any sort of trim that grade 1 lever is really where you're probably going to see that. 341, very common because you've got those trims. Obviously not for exit devices. The latch is not exposed or really subject to attack. So the 341D is represented by this. The US32D in the part number means that this is stainless steel. It is solid stainless steel and also in a satin finish. Okay. Now let's go over it. Hager has this at 3" by 11". There you go. 3 inch, 11" wide, 11" tall. Sorry, 3" wide. Okay. Now this model again features that lock cutout. This is going to be something that's going to allow you to deal with those diameter rosettes that are 3.5, 3 3/4 inch in that range. Okay. For use with cylindrical lock sets with a 2 3/4 back set, if this was not cut out and you had a 3 3/4 diameter rose, so your back set's 2 3/4 minus half of 3 3/4. You would, 7/8 is the dimension. You would have too much material here to fit. So you really need to relieve that with that cutout. Okay. Satin stainless steel, 3 by 11, non-handed. You can put that either way. That's not going to be a problem. Now what this model has is this frame pin. The frame pin is what helps prevent someone from inserting a tool and literally separating the door and frame, making a space between the two greater than the 1/8 of an inch that's probably there. That frame pin will be drilled towards the top or at the bottom, depending on the handing of the door, and is really a great idea. Rather than having a latch guard that does not feature a frame pin, the concept where latch guards are really used are instances where someone tampering with the lock may not be something quite visible. You might be able to, attack a door if you're in the backside of a strip mall and there's nothing but, vacant property behind the strip mall. You might be able to spend a lot of time back there trying to get through that door if you're, someone looking to break in. That frame pin really helps eliminate that because it changes the approach that you have to take to break into that door. The concept is just move along. Don't break into this door. And that's really what the frame pin is going to help do. Okay? Because a very common attack is if you have a typical lock set, let's just say it's a grade 2 cylindrical lever lock set and it's got a 1/2 inch projection. If I get a crowbar in there, you probably wouldn't find it impossible to spread that out enough to where you can tamper the latch bolt and get that moved in and then pop the door open. Frame pin helps eliminate that. Okay. This is used on 1 3/4 thick doors. It's very typical and common, and it's going to include the two 5/16 sex bolts that are included. Carriage bolts are going to be faced on the outside, a typical carriage bolt, and then of course the female portion on the inside with an Allen drive. So these square preps in here, because it's a carriage bolt, as you're tightening it, it will prevent that from turning, and it's really all but, unassailable, without taking a truck and backing the truck into the door, and then the latch guard's not made to handle that. Now, let's go over the installation instructions. They are certainly included in your packaging. That latch guard's put down to the packaging. Okay. There is a link below this video to the installation instructions that you can view prior to sale, after sale, etc. So the frame pin obviously goes on the frame. you can, the frame side, you can see that there's an offset there. That offset is there because this portion attaches to the door, and as you might know, doors, steel doors generally is what we're talking about with this. They're inset into the door 3/32 of an inch, something in that range, but they're not flush. Many aluminum doors have a flush face installation, but steel doors never do. Industry standard is that they're inset. So you've got to have your latch guard account for that. Otherwise, you wouldn't really be able to get the door to latch. The installation of this in step 1 shows that from where this little angle begins here, you want to be 3/16 of an inch over, pardon me, from where this angle begins right here, you want to have this kicked into the door 3/16 of an inch, allowing the offset to be able to, give you clearance to get that frame portion wrapped around on the face of the frame. So in this scenario that you're facing, your door, it appears to you as if the door is a left-hand reverse. Hinges are over here, and the door swings out, so it'd be a left-hand reverse, the way you're viewing it. So 3/16 of an inch over, you're going to mark your holes for the bolts. You're going to mark your hole for the pin, for the frame pin as well. Step 2, center the plate vertically on the center line of the lock. That's obvious. If you're using a cylindrical lock like this, you're going to obviously center it over this. Drill your holes. They want a 5/16 of a diameter hole through the door or the sex bolts. Install. Now after you get this installed, you can literally use this point as a way to mark the frame. Okay, you can give that just a little wrap and it will mark the frame. Obviously, as you're pre-drilling that hole, they also want it to be 5/16 for this. Be careful, that frame could be packed full of mortar. You don't want to destroy your drill bit as you're going in. You're probably going to if it's packed full of mortar. But more importantly, you don't want to get a surprise as you're drilling into the material with a large half-horsepower drill bit, power drill. Let me show you the dimensions of what this is. So from the door side, it's 3-inch total width, and we can study where that all comes into play. And you can see that, right about here, you're 1.25 inches where that angle begins. So they want 1 1/16 inches of this to be on the door. And that's where we had done the math on the back set, less half of the rosette, and that's really why this has to occur, because that dimension was 7/8 of an inch, and this will be hanging over too far. If you hang it out any further than this, you get into a point where you can't get the bolts installed, and it's then really, this frame pin is going to fall outside of the face of the frame. Now, Hager, the name is synonymous with many things hardware related as it pertains to trim and auxiliary hardware. Door stops, obviously latch guards, push plates, pull plates, things of that nature. Sliding door hardware, track, hangers that you're going to use on bypass, bifold, pocket sliding, exit devices, lock sets, door closers, weather stripping, Roton aluminum continuous geared hinges, and it goes on and on. It's their namesake, really, that they're most commonly known for, Hager hinge. Everything as it applies to a commercial, institutional, residential type hinge. That's Hager's primary notoriety. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up the full line Hager catalog and review all things trim and auxiliary hardware and all other product categories from Hager. Any questions on the Hager 341D-32D stainless steel latch protector with a frame pin, or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.